Hello, G.
What's going on?
Yo. How's it going, man? Oh, what?
Good.
Wait, hello? Test?
Dude, you can hear me, right?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I can hear you. We're all good. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yep. Damn, KP really rugging the spaces on us. This guy's just not showing up.
Yeah, no, he texted me, he was like, dude, there's no way I'm talking to this guy. Like, no shot.
What?
So,
Last time we both found out we're both British, and I love beans on toast, and now he blows me off like this. What fucking
yeah, I don't know, bro. Like, I think there might be some beef between y'all. I think you're gonna have to work it out in DMs.
I'm gonna fly over there to England and take care of business, huh?
Yeah, I think that's what you're gonna have to do.
Well, fair enough. Mr. and I are both actually in New York. We were hanging out at Zani's apartment the other day, planning world
Mm-hmm.
domination, interwoven world domination. So super excited to be here and share some of those insights with all the loyal supporters who showed up at. I mean, if you guys are in Asia at 4 in the morning, and anywhere else, probably a more reasonable time.
Yes, we have been plotting interwoven world domination. It's coming sooner than people think. The plotting will continue in Seoul, and honestly, it'll continue until time ceases to exist. So,
Yeah, how do we get some
okay.
better roles in the Initia Discord server? I'm much more of a Telegram power user myself, but everyone's got these fancy colors.
hmm Well, even if you're a Twitter user or a Telegram power user, there are still some roles that you can obtain. And you can head over to our facts for more information.
All right, I was kind of hoping you could just like throw them to me, but I guess I gotta roll up my sleeves and work.
Oh, yeah, no, you're definitely gonna have to put in some blood, sweat, and tears for sure.
Some hours in. All right, you know what? That's all fine. All fine with me.
Okay, good,
Are we
good,
waiting?
good, 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 good.
He said he'd be a bit late. We're gonna wait. We're
Yeah,
gonna off.
yeah, he'll come here in maybe a handful of minutes. But for now, you're stuck with me. I'm stuck with you. It's really unfortunate, but that's just how it is.
As long as we get up here, I think we'll be fine. I think we'll make it.
Yeah, agreed. So, okay. Thank you everyone for coming. We really appreciate it. If Glenn, you would like to introduce yourself briefly, and then I'll do the same, and then we can kind of get started.
Let's do it. Hey everybody, my name's Glen. I am the founder of Echelon Market, and we are building a vertically integrated DeFi app chain on Initia. We hope to be the hub of most, lending, borrowing, great DeFi strategies in the interwoven economy. And myself personally, I've worked at a tech startup before. I've worked in a sort of fund doing liquid trading and DC and crypto, and sort of been around the crypto space since 2020, 2021. I kind of got into it when I was wrapping up school and did some stuff on the education side, and then sort of met some folks, helped build some communities, do some projects alongside my other jobs in the past. And then about 18 months ago, dropped everything, just started building, got some move devs, and started cooking.
What made you go from, I guess, startup land or VC / investing / trading into actually building a product? I'm curious.
I'm still very much in startup land over here, but I saw that like crypto is kind of a place where accelerated growth can really happen, especially if you build the right thing and you do it the right way and you align with the right people. I think it's a place you can kind of grow really fast. And we run into scaling problems on a fast business, and honestly, I mean, just a lot of great smart folks in the industry. So kind of the natural choice to be a builder. And I think in retrospect should have started many years before, but sort of that's the natural progression, and definitely the best choice to make at the time. And I'd argue that it still would be for a lot of people. But yeah.
So, would you encourage some of the listeners out there to build in crypto? I guess, like, that, and also, what would be some advice that you would give someone maybe just starting to build their first project? The kind of startup land that you come from. I'm sure you have some insights.
I mean, to answer your first question about whether I'd give somebody the advice to build in crypto, I mean, it's going to be the lame answer, but it depends. It depends on a bunch of things, but it depends on you really as a person. And there's definitely a lot of late nights, a lot of stressful times. And when you're building something like we are, which is DeFi, and really managing a lot of other people's money, we have over $100 million of other people's capital on our platform. It's not something you can take lightly, so it's really something you have to commit to. I dropped everything a couple years ago to work on this. I ended up ending things with my girlfriend because even the relationship was a bit much to manage with the workload. So it's a big commitment to do like a large scale project, especially if it's something that people are going to put money into. But there's definitely smaller things to do. You can do more NFT or community or side projects, or contribute to projects. There's a bunch of ways to get involved. So I definitely recommend taking inventory of your personal situation. Do I have time? Do I have money to invest in a project? Do I know people that I can build with? But I definitely recommend, taking a shot, putting yourself out there, reaching out to a founder you believe in, and just trying to support, even if it's like joining a community and just becoming core and then building up from there, which I've seen a lot of people in Initia, very, very loyal community supporters and everything. I'm sure there'll be many small side projects that spin up from people just in your Discord server becoming friends with each other and cooking. So definitely recommend it, but it's not something to take lightly, especially if you're doing a big scale endeavor, I'd say.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned how some community members will probably end up like either cooking up a chain or doing some kind of project. There's actually there's a project that is being launched by one of our moderators called Asadar DAO, and they have a Twitter. I'm sure some people here know about it, but yeah, it's just a few people from the Initia community. They're doing some kind of community-based project on Initia. So yeah, like we're already starting to see that, and I think it's really cool to see, man. Like I come from I didn't traditionally work in crypto. I was a community member for a handful of DeFi projects, and eventually I just ended up getting hired, ended up working full time as a mod basically in 2021. And then things started just slowly snowballing. You meet more people, you learn more about the space, you see like good and bad products, good and bad teams, and then you can either choose to build your own thing, you can choose to work at a really awesome team, like in my case, or you can go another route. But yeah, I think it's really cool. You can kind of take many different directions to kind of end up in a similar place here, which I'm sure it's similar in real life as well. But I don't know, crypto is just super exciting like that.
Crypto is super accessible. I mean, I've worked with. We had a guy that did marketing for us for a couple months who lived in like a very remote village in India, and I never would have met this person in my day-to-day life, but we got in touch online, right? So definitely, I've done the real physical business grind before, and I've done the online business, and I've done the crypto stuff, and I think the opportunity set in crypto is much bigger, and you're able to meet people much faster. I'm sure your story of meeting Zom is probably some Discord or some Telegram or
yes, yeah, it was Discord. Exactly.
So yeah, definitely a lot of. I think crypto is one of the most interesting industry to work in, exciting, especially for young people or people really anywhere around the world to get opportunities that might not have access to otherwise.
Yep. Yeah, it's the whole thing. It's permissionless, right? Like as long as you, even like testnets, right? You can just install a wallet for free and start messing around. Any kind of DeFi or any kind of application you can use in such a freeing way. It's really dope. So, getting into kind of the meat of the topic, or yeah, like the meat of this kind of AMA here. I think me and a lot of other people are curious about farming in general. Like for me, I don't do much farming. I have a lot of friends that do kind of some sophisticated strategies here and there. People that I also have friends that only trade and don't farm. So I guess, in your opinion, like you have traders, you have farmers, you have maybe people that do both. What kind of person farms versus trades, if that makes sense?
Hmm. I mean, maybe a successful trader starts farming when they want to, take less volatility. Personally, I hold majority stables right now just because I'm so busy with work. I can't even I know it's a distraction to my mission to be trying to catch the next 100x gem and pump fun. Um, I think it depends. A lot of people there's larger kind of market maker, family office, whale types that have a lot of stables that they want to farm or ETH or existing assets. Or there's and out there in the spectrum, there's people around the world that want to save and earn in US dollars and maybe don't have access to a brokerage or something like you could buy a US Treasury bill for. So maybe we have a lot of users in Turkey, have some pretty big Turkish users on the platform, and their currency was experiencing a lot of inflation, and they just wanted to hold USDT and USDC, and they wanted to earn. They're not looking for 100x on this money. They understand it's different risk spectrum between trading meme coins or crypto or farming yield and participating in on-chain finance, right? But there's these people in Latin America and Turkey that are a core part of our community and really active users because their intention was on to save and preserve their personal wealth, which they've generated from their whole life, right? So really different spectrum of people who farm. Even some people who are taking, if you're holding APT right now with Reliable on Aptos, you can use some of the Echelon features and tools to leverage stake APT, so you get a higher effective staking APT on APR interest rate on your staked assets. And I'm sure there'll be something similar with Initia once it's live. So even that people who are they call it traders or they're holding APT or they're holding init, even they may want to use a farming feature or two to sort of try to maximize. Let's say I'm going to hold Aptos for a year because I'm bullish, but throughout the year maybe I'll stake it and maybe I'll loop the staking assets on Echelon or another lending market. So these are the kind of users who farm. It's real. It's not one size fits all by any means.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think it's an interesting point that a lot of your users are in Turkey or someplace where maybe the currency isn't so stable, and so they want to kind of seek refuge in USDT, but they also want to get some yield on it, like a standard bank account. I think that's really neat. So, okay, put yourself. I'm sure you're a big user of DeFi protocols in general. So, if you can put yourself in the shoes of a user for a minute, how do you evaluate which app or protocol to use to farm? Like, for example, Aave, as I'm sure everyone knows, is super battle tested. It's been around such a long time. It's arguably, I guess, the safest kind of DeFi app currently in terms of sentiment, and also I guess I don't know if I've ever seen any real kind of major exploits with Aave, but I guess the downside of this is that maybe the yield is a bit lower because it's so safe. Whereas maybe a new and experimental project has really high APY, but it's not many years old and it's not super battle tested. So if you're a user and you want to you have stables or you have ETH or staked ETH and you want to park these assets somewhere to either lend out or borrow additional capital off of this, how do you evaluate and analyze different apps or different money markets in order to come to a decision on that?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, starting from the user perspective, I wake up, I log in, I got 5 ETH in my wallet. I mean, the first thing you would sort of have to put yourself in a position of is what assets am I holding and which assets I want to continue to hold, right? So some people want to buy as much Bitcoin as they can. They want to hold Bitcoin forever, right? So if that's your personal view, you're probably going to want to look at some farming strategies that revolve as Bitcoin is the main asset and the main collateral. If you think the cycle stopped and you want to sell everything into stables and you're going to hold stables for the next 12 months, you might think, okay, I'm going to look for stable strategies, right? So the first step, I guess, would be to look at your portfolio, look at your holdings, determine which assets you actually want to be using, ETH, BTC, init, stables, whatever else. So once you've done that, then you get into more of the research stage of like, okay, what exists for stablecoins, right? So within stablecoins, there's, like you said, there's lower yielding strategies. I can just go supply them on Aave. I think the current yield is like 6 to 7% to supply, or 5 to 6%. You can supply them on Echelon. Lending markets traditionally have, or just base supplying is generally the lower risk. I don't like to use the words risk and secure because obviously when crypto and things happen, so please take it everything with a grain of salt, I say here, but lending markets tend to be more viewed as like a safer, less volatile, more secure place to park capital. But even then, you have stable coins, you want to hold stable assets. You might want to look at something like Usual and USDO, which sort of has treasury yield 4 or 5%, plus some sort of incentives from the usual, emissions and the usual token itself. Plus, there's some places that you can lend it and maybe get more leverage on it, right? So you kind of have to go through this personal selection of like, which assets do I want to be farming with? What's my sort of like risk tolerance / what kind of strategies do I want to be doing? And then lastly, you get more into like, then, okay, how do I do it? Where do I go mechanically? How do I execute this? Do I need to bridge to Aptos to come to Echelon, or do I have to go to, base to LP on Aerodrome, et cetera. So that's kind of the thought process as a user of how to, at a very high level, start. And then I can get into a bit more of like the details, but I'll stop there to see if there's any questions from you, Vista, or throughout the whole time, feel free to ping the chat. I got it open here to check it out.
Yeah, so it's basically a matter of, like you said, just in the beginning, what assets do you have and what assets do you want to keep? And I guess also what assets do you want to accumulate as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, then I guess like
farming, there's different sources of yield. There's like organic interest, there's incentives interest, there's sort of potential airdrops and future upside, right? So there's a bunch of different things. Yeah, what do I want to earn to consider? And then I guess particularly around the airdrops and token emissions, you'll definitely find higher, call it upsidey opportunities and newer protocols, right? Those who farmed Athena really early got a very good airdrop. Those who were early to Camino and early using Solana before they even launched the points program, for example, like did really well and continue to get additional upside on top of just the yield. They get these sort of additional incentives, right? So depending on your risk tolerance, if you want to go with like an entrenched DeFi protocol like Aave, Aave's not doing another airdrop. There's no token emissions coming from Aave, but you sort of know what you get. Something like Echelon, where it's kind of like a more familiar model, but it's on newer chains. It's got some new features. It's a bit more innovative. It's also a bit newer, and there's no token lab yet. Users might look at that and think, okay, it's like I was down to do an Aave strategy, but I might do the same Aave strategy on Echelon because maybe there's going to be some extra rewards in the future or stuff that's not calculated or priced in, and I might make more by using Echelon over Aave, right? So that's kind of how you think about things holistically.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And also, Aerodrome, for instance, if you were providing liquidity on Aerodrome and you were doing this early on, and you got some Aerodrome tokens from the emissions, from the incentives that the team provided. Aerodrome was at a low price for a long time, and then it really shot up. And so I think what most people, or at least what some people do, is that they'll put their money on like the platform, and then they'll farm the incentives, and then they'll sell them. But sometimes, like specifically in Aerodrome's case, and there's a few others, but yeah, like you sold your rewards, but then the token like 10x, 50x, so like I feel like there's some kind of calculation there as well. It's like, okay, do I sell the token? Do I hold what I farm? Do I buy more? You know what I mean?
question? Maybe.
Oh wait, your mic is kind of scuffed. It's like going in and out.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a little muffled.
it's I like moved things. No change.
Test. Oh,
Okay. We getting anything?
okay. Yep, we're good.
All right. All right.
Nice.
I'm not sure I remember was there a question there, or were we kind of just explaining something?
There was actually no question. I was just saying, like, yeah, like, I feel like you also have to make some kind of calculation or some thought has to be into do I sell the token that I get from emissions? Do I hold on to it? Do I buy more? It's ultimately probably a matter of the tokenomics and if the project in general is bullish or if you feel like you're early as well, right?
I mean, if you earned Aave tokens in 2017 and you were bullish on Aave for like however many years it's been, 8 years or something, you would have done well too. It's also like, is the team keep delivering? And I think if you're going to do to make a long-term place to put your capital, if you want the product, the team, and things that you can understand, right? Like people who have been, using Lido safety for 4 years, 5 years, the same strategy, okay, and stick to it, and they've been, up around it, but like that's their voter. If, for example, you think that Echelon and Initia is like long-term value, and you align with the teams and what's being built, then maybe you want to participate longer, and there's some stuff in our tokenomics where actually you might benefit from not selling the airdrop, you might benefit from actually continuing to farm because you may actually earn more over duration because of having design, right? So there's a bunch of considerations. Good point. Beyond even just like the airdrop. See that we get some lagging in the chat. Sorry about that. Mista didn't sponsor me with the 5G visa here. I'm on 2G. I'm 2G, so you gotta stick with me.
It's okay right now. It's not too bad. Okay, so we kind of went over the basics a little bit. I've personally learned a good bit from all of this so far, and I guess you look at the farming market currently. Are there some current strategies that come to mind for you, like whether it's on Echelon, whether it's on Aave or any of these other money markets that are interesting? And I guess one thing I'll say is that we're just like, this is just a education. There's no financial advice here. Please do your own research and don't put money into any protocol without looking into it. So yeah, please continue.
All right, just to be crystal clear, I'm share my screen, I can go some stuff, but what Mista said is very true. I don't know anything. I'm just some internet cat, and you really should do your own research. Anyway, let's get a screen going. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see the Discord? Yes, we can. Okay.
Yep.
Swipe over. You can see me swiping? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Spreadsheets here. Let me.
Don't go. Nice.
Always. So here is a Echelon wallet. Obviously not too much on it. Walk through some strategies. I'm going to do this side by side with Aave, so we can compare a couple things. And the last is just more complicated, more nuanced strategies. But let's go to the markets page on both Aave on this one. Right. You go to the markets page and you can see what's available, what assets are available to deposit, and we try to keep as much information on the page as possible. It does get a bit of like 10 numbers. Fuck. Don't worry, it all makes sense.
Wait.
We have these tool tests that pop up to understand what these markets.
Glen. Your mic is pretty bad right now.
I don't have trouble with this. I am, but it's just like working, maybe.
Okay. Yep. It's good.
Okay, I'll keep my hands out the way. I think that could be the issue. I'm
Okay.
making a lot of gestures, so to speak, but I don't really need to. All right,
Yeah, we're
let me know
good.
if you try again.
Yeah, it's good.
So on the market page, you can see all the assets. So obviously we're here on Ethereum mainnet, right? So if you had decided I want to be farming something in ETH and I want to earn yield, you would be much more likely to be on Aave and Echelon because right now we don't really have too much ETH assets and strategies. But you holding ETH, you have 5 ETH in your wallet. You say, I want to keep holding ETH for the next year. I like paying the price go down. And I want to keep farming ETH. Perfect. What you might want to do, okay, what can I get this deal? Supply ETH into Aave and I can get 2% a year. Pay that ETH, but not bad. But it's almost $6 billion. Pretty bad tested. It's not pretty progress because it's a big market. But obviously the yields come. Now, one strategy that's popular is called looping. What you do, you take an asset and you get an asset that's bearing yield. So what you see is ETH or WSDE. These are both staked ETH, right? I don't know the exact rate, but ETH staking is generally 3% ish, maybe a bit above 3%. But for the sake of this, that's called 3.5% is the current ETH staking rate for both these ETH and WST ETHs. So if you had a bit more of a risk tolerance, or if you wanted to earn a bit more than this 2%, you want to really make it. You want to get 3% yield. Maybe you go stake on there and you get 3. But if you wanted to go even further and earn additional steps beyond that, what you can do, and this is where the looping strategy comes into play, is you deposit the staked ETH as collateral on a lending market, and then you would borrow regular ETH against it. But you see here that the borrow yield on ETH is 2.67. Remember, as the staking yield, this example was 3.5%. So that you're paying less to borrow the ETH than the collateral, the staked ETH is actually generating a yield. So you, as the smart people you are, would think, I can probably make more if I take the borrowed and put it back into staking. You'd be 100% correct. So this strategy is quite popular, and I'm very sure that a large majority of this $5 billion that's been borrowed is entering into the sort of leverage ETH staking or looped ETH staking. You take the stake assets, these LSTs, use them as collateral, and borrow base asset against it, and then we enter the loop a bit further. Right? So you can enter, let's say you loop one time, maybe your total position yield will be 4%. If you enter maybe 2 times, you can get the 5%. So the more you loop, the more you can potentially get, but there's obviously risk of liquidations and other stuff because you have more.
Okay. Wait.
Yeah.
Okay, well, your mic is a little scuffed again.
What did we miss then?
Wait, say that again?
What? Okay. Are we good? Is the mic okay?
No, it's not okay.
Honest. Time for a new top.
Two FPS, Glen.
Oh my god, I think my phone has been on the mic the whole time, on the other side of my hotel room. No way.
There we go.
What the hell? My phone was on the other bed in my hotel. I connected when I joined the page. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I got my phone in my hand now, but it was like 10 feet away from me this whole time. Jesus.
Okay, nice. We're here.
Oh, sorry. This is why I need to be back at my office in my desk. I get the microphone. I got no shenanigans. This is why I don't travel. All right.
No worries at all. No worries.
We're back.
We're good.
So back. We've never been with that. Did everybody hear what I said? Is there any questions about this ETH, liquid staked ETH looping concept that I can go over a bit more?
Okay, let me just recap it. Can you go back to Aave real quick? Okay, so let's say I have WETH, right? I can deposit my WETH. I can borrow normal ETH, and I'm actually still like making a little bit more because the staking rate is, you said, around like 3.5%, right? We
Yep.
can see your Telegram, by the way.
I realized that, so I'll probably respond.
So you take that borrowed ETH, and then what would you do with it in this particular strategy? Would you just buy more like WETH? We can't hear you if you're talking, by the way. So, okay, who here in the chat uses money markets like Aave or some of these other ones? Like, does anyone here farm or lend out or borrow with their funds on chain? Not me. I am broke. Same. I'd like to start doing it some though. I think it's a really cool concept. I'm sure we'll probably go over some. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure we'll go over some potential Echelon and Init strategies. Oh, let's see. They use Camino and a bunch of other platforms, mostly Sol related. Nice. Yeah, I think Sol is a good place to farm because it's cheap, right? It's not like you're using Ethereum mainnet where you have to spend a lot of money on transactions. I think Sol, Base, even like Aptos, right, where Echelon lives, or Initia in the future where transactions are super cheap and super fast. These chains are, I think, more ideal to farm on than Ethereum mainnet, unless you have a lot of money. Gee, guys, I'm getting rugged. Gee! Let me join in under my partners. Okay. Alright. No worries, Glen. Pull up. Yo, Ryuzi. Howdy. Amkar, hello. Hazuki? Is that how you say it? Hazuki? Yo. Chidhey? Am I saying that right? Hello, James. Cannot hear you if you're talking.
How's this?
Nice. Yeah.
Guys, we may just be so back.
We are so back.
We are so back. Thank you to my my teammate James for giving me a Discord login to let me answer some tickets. I'm in the chat answering questions. So is he. So I got the login. We're so back. Always keep a second account. I guess it's a technical difficulty. Let's get right back into the show. I got to leave at 4:45. I have to head to it. Okay. So let me share the screen. Window. Yep. Got it. Got 3 Chrome tabs here. Discord. Got the rest.
Nice.
We got the Echelon.market shout out on the Twitter. If any of you guys in the chat aren't following, we're no longer friends. And,
Echelon market.
Right back into the farming strategies. Let's go. So we finished up on ETH. Basically, you want to stake ETH. You can borrow it. Another strategy, right? So this looping kind of comes from the fact that these assets bear yield, staked ETH or this staked USDE, which is just a yield-bearing stablecoin. And then you borrow the asset is in the same category, the same pair. They're correlated to each other in price. And then you sort of you get a bit more leverage on it, right? So Athena, SUSDE is a very popular source of stable farming yield, and people can come and deposit SUSDE, stake USDE, and then they can borrow USDC against it at 90% LTV, 90% of the value of what they supply, and then they can go and purchase more staked USDE if they feel like the yield is high enough, right? So the current yield on Athena is 13% on SUSDE, right? So you can just swap your USDC and earn 13%, and obviously there's its own risks and do your own research, but 3% on Athena. You could supply it on Aave, and you could borrow USDC at 10%, right? And then you could go back in and purchase more Athena to keep earning 13% and earn the additional sort of 3% spread every time you loop or lever up on this asset, right? So Echelon is very similar in the foundation to Aave in the sense that it allows you to take assets that are yield bearing. It allows you to borrow against them. It allows you to, do these sophisticated or simple strategies depending on how far you want to take it to earn yield, right? So as we launched on Aptos first, we have a lot of liquid staked Aptos tokens, right? We don't have as much Ethereum assets because we're not an Ethereum native project, but the same concept, the same strategy applies, right? Staked Aptos. This is a product that you can, get 8% on the staked Aptos. You can borrow APT and Echelon for under 4% currently, and then you would just enter into the loop. So we built our app around the same principles of these DeFi giants, Caminos, Morpho, Aave. We really wanted to focus on building like a user experience that was better, right? So what we decided to do when we made our app, and you come to the dashboard, you see all your positions, and you can sort of enter into borrows, supplies, etc. We said it's quite annoying to manually loop up, right? We want to get, leveraged much faster. And I'm not sure why the UI is not working here, but there's normally, I have no balance. We have a feature where you can do this looping automatically, and you can do it in one click. To put this out, I have a screenshot of it somewhere. I'll send it to you guys later. But basically, what we decided to do is take this strategy of taking the yield-bearing asset, borrowing the non-yield-bearing asset, staking the asset to get more of the stake E. We built this. And we have a feature, and we're adding a new page to the app soon, Earn, which sort of has these strategies pre-built and a bit more information behind them, so anybody can come read, and hopefully the browser translates like your natural or local language. So if you're in China or wherever, you can sort of still understand. But we decided to make these strategies one click. So I'm actually not sure why this is not showing up. I just think it's because I don't have any balance to the asset, but another bug for us to dive into after this call. But same thing, you can take a asset that's bearing yield and you can borrow against it. And what we have here with the stable coins, which is a very popular strategy on Echelon right now, is again, it's 7.5% to just supply USDC to the market. But if you borrow and you want to resupply, maybe you can borrow it, put USDT, and this is how you would earn additional yield. Is by you do have to take on some leverage, you do have to borrow. Maybe you have to swap assets, and there's additional risk the more leverage you take on, obviously, because you get closer to liquidation. But that's how to really maximize your yield, and really maximize your earning. Another thing to note for Echelon at the moment is we have a points campaign ongoing, and the way points work is that every dollar you supply gets points, and every dollar you borrow more points, because borrows for us are good because it helps generate interest for other depositors and it builds the flywheel. So we incentivize people to, with the points right now, keep borrowing and be supplying assets. And if you loop up a couple times, you end up supplying more assets in dollar value. You end up borrowing more assets in dollar values. Not only do you earn additional yield on Echelon, but you earn additional points. And this is probably the alpha that you all showed up here for. So I'll take a moment to come back to the chat, do any questions. But my screen not showing? I see somebody saying that.
Yeah, no, it is.
Okay. This is probably the alpha. Is that if you want to earn the maximum points on Echelon, and there's been no snapshot yet, on Aptos, you can bring over stablecoins or bring over APT and do one of these loops. And as you loop up and as you add more to your both supply and your borrow balance, you earn more points. So it's obviously going back to our initial point of build your own preference based on how leveraged you want to be, how much risk you want to take, etc., etc. But this is a case, and I know there's some members of the Initia team, and there's some other people that are actually quite active users of the platform already. So I would that's the advice / alpha to be given. But again, NFA, do your own research and don't take on too much leverage. You don't understand the product and the risks. The people that I know that are really leveraged on this, they check in every day. They check their positions just to make sure it's all healthy. So yeah, that's a bit of insight for the loyal Initiates who showed up here on a Wednesday evening.
Well, thank you, James, also known as G, for the rundown. I think it's really cool how y'all kind of baked in the whole looping kind of strategies in the UX, as opposed to having to do one step, having to do another, having to do another. I think that's
I've got to go in a second, so I'm just going to quickly touch on a couple of other areas that Echelon has, and we'll keep adding. And just so everyone here see the full picture and see the full vision. But we have one product that's currently KYC'd, so only institutions are using it, but it's for purchasing treasury bills and then borrowing against them, and then using getting additional yield on like the real world assets. We have some stuff. If you see here, we're working with Stakestone quite closely. They have almost 600 Bitcoin in here. The Stakestone itself is got Stakestone rewards built into the product, so there's some yield inherently in the Bitcoin being through Stakestone. But beyond that, you're able to come to Echelon and you can borrow against it at 50%. What can I do with the borrowed money? Maybe I could borrow APT for 4%, 3%, and I can stake it for 8%, right? So not only do you get some yield by holding Bitcoin or holding ETH, we have WETH as well, with a small bit of incentives, but you can then borrow against this asset and enter into another strategic yield, right? So RWA is one, Bitcoin and ETH is another that we support and going to scale up. We'll be doing the looping and staking, leverage staking of Athena assets. There's a big announcement coming next week. Stay tuned. Follow that Twitter. And lastly is we're working closely with DEX LP positions as well. So pretty soon you'll be able to borrow against a liquid as an LP position. And pretty soon you'll be able to use that as collateral to enter into loops. And also we'll sort of have, like I said, there's an earn feature coming out in the next couple of weeks or months to make all these strategies more accessible, intuitive. Because right now, a lot of the stuff on Echelon is on the back end. You can interact with the contract, you have to be kind of technical. But yes, that is the high levels. There's a lot that you also can't see or need to really look deeply to understand now. I'm going to be doing a bunch of work in marketing and getting it out there to users, and also going to be doing a lot of work to continue adding strategies, assets, etc. With that, guys, I do have to run. I need to be at a meeting in 12 minutes, and it's like more than 12 minutes away, so I gotta really run, get out there. But it's been so great, Mr. Thank you very much. And if there's any questions, if you
Glen,
ping them to me. I'll text you the answers when I can, and you can coordinate with the fine people here. Your questions answered.
Sounds good, brother. Have a good meeting. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Good night. Good Elon. Goodbye. I'll talk to you guys soon.
See ya. Go to live stream. Thank you all for coming out. If y'all have any questions for Glen or anyone from the Echelon team, feel free to ask here, and I'll do my best to get your questions answered. Yeah, thank you all for listening. Really appreciate y'all coming by. I know it's really late for some of you. I know it's really early. So thank you for taking the time out of your day. And if that's it, then I'm gonna sign off. Gonna go get some lunch. See ya, Sota. See ya, Ryuzi. Yeah. We had a new. Yeah, that's one new chain building with us, Echelon. We just announced another one today. called Battle for Blockchain. It's a game. If you check out our announcements channel, you can see it. Also, our Twitter. And BFB. I'll link it again in the chat one more time. Super cool game. Y'all should check it out. You can earn some golden items, which will have some uses down the line that are basically early access. Herbaz, if you check the Battle for Blockchain Twitter thread that I just posted and you scroll down a bit, it talks about some of the golden items. Yeah, of course. Okay, any last questions? Some coming decks on Initia chain? Yeah, there's going to be some dexes that deploy their own chains on Initia for sure. We also have Initia dex built into our layer 1, which comes with some really cool features like enshrined liquidity. When good news? We had some good news today. February is going to be a huge month. Really a massive month for Initia. So I hope all of you guys are prepared. Make sure to follow, keep us on notifications. February is going to be insane. Zayon, I'm... Low taper fade? What is low taper fade? Isn't low taper fade a haircut? Will Initia be on NFT Paris? No, we will not be at NFT Paris. We will be at ETH Denver though. Questions about Tucana? I believe... Yeah, Tucana, they unfortunately stopped building. So at this moment in time, they will not be they will not be having a chain on the interwoven stack. Echelon? Yeah. Yeah, we just had the founder of Echelon here. Check them out. Soon to be a interwoven rollup on Initia. They're currently live on Aptos. Initia can compete Sui. Well, the value propositions are a little bit different. But we plan for Initia to be a top tier ecosystem. Up there with all the ones that you know. And even better. Explanation about VIP. Yeah, I guess the very simple description of VIP is that if you use chains that use the interwoven stack and you do actions that they set, you get escrowed init rewards. And if you keep using these chains and you keep doing the actions that they dictate, you'll get init rewards. There's no partnership with Monad. No. I can link a simple explainer on VIP real quick. VIP rewards is post mainnet. Yes. All-Star and Ryuzi are correct. Okay, I'm really hungry. I need to eat. So I'll take one more question and then I have to go. An allocation for incentivized testnet users? No comment. Audits are completed. Audits are being wrapped up here shortly. Okay, I'm gonna eat. Have a good day, everyone. Have a good morning, afternoon, night. Thank you all for coming. We'll see you next time. See ya. Yep, thank you, Batron. Appreciate you as always. Bye. Bye bye.